Thanks. Good afternoon and good morning, everyone. Um, we have our virtual feedback training course today. We're going to be welcoming Cindy Marr and Jamie Geit from Learning Edge Coaching. Between the both of them, they have over 40 years of experience facilitating trainings. They've worked across numerous industries and diverse companies, including General Mills, Pfizer, PricewaterhouseCoopers, so they have a good array of experience and audiences. They're going to be discussing navigating the ins and outs of feedback, both giving and receiving. This will be an interactive session, so you will be participating in certain components of it. Please make sure that your cameras remain on. You will be on mute, but if you need to ask a question or make a comment, you can unmute yourself and make your comment. And then when you're done, just mute yourself once again. And with that, let's give Cindy and Jamie a warm welcome.
Oh, and my name is Cindy Marr.
Hi, I'm Jamie Geit.
We are located in Connecticut, and while we are super happy to be working out of our home offices, we are, sad about missing out on the wall of snacks that we have, enjoyed when we have visited your Jersey City location. Welcome to Feedback as a Gift, but I'd rather have chocolate. So let me start by saying this, in the highest functioning teams, in the most effective organizations, feedback gets shared up and down and sideways. But the fact is that many of us don't know how to deliver it well, first of all, and even perhaps more importantly, many of us don't receive it well. And I got to say that, this really impacts your buzz. Now, when we talk about buzz, we're not talking about, Colorado, Rocky Mountain High kind of buzz, or your local cannabis dispensary. When we talk about buzz, what we're talking about is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Now, your buzz can be positive, it can be negative, and it can be something called positive but limiting. Now, positive buzz, that's what we want, right? Positive buzz. Well, it sounds like this. Hey, Jamie.
Hey,
How you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Really good. Hey, I have a question. Do you know Sally from the CX team?
No, Sally. I love Sally. Are you kidding me?
You do?
Yes, everything about her is wonderful. I mean, I aspire to be like her. I honestly, I just bask in her sunshine.
Hi. I heard she was good, but
Good. Oh, that's completely underselling. She is extremely talented and smart and funny and compassionate. She's the person I go to when I have questions. I named 3 of my kids after her.
my goodness. Well,
Yeah.
I was thinking about promoting her.
You should do that.
You think so?
Yes, because then more people would get to work with her. I am a better person for knowing her. I'm telling you, she smells like chocolate chip cookies.
Hi. I heard
Yes.
she's attractive too.
Stunning.
Seen, that's what we want. We want people saying great things about us when we're not there. But buzz can be something else. Buzz can be negative. Negative buzz is what we don't want. Negative buzz sounds completely different. Negative buzz sounds like this. Hey, Jamie,
Hey,
how you doing today?
well, I'm having a really good day. How about you?
Fantastic. I'm good too. Hey, do you know Sally?
Why would you do that?
What did I do?
I just said I was having a really good day, and then you decided to bring me down. And I don't like
Oh,
that.
okay. I don't think she's that bad, right?
You haven't met her yet, have you?
Well, no. I've seen her at a meeting, but
Yeah, no, it's not the same. If you get too close, she actually sucks your soul out of your body. She is
goodness.
awful. No, really. She's
Okay.
mean-spirited. She's spiteful. She has no clue what she's doing. I'm telling you, she is an awful human being.
Oh, Okay, well, I was gonna like ask her to come over to our wholesale team just
No.
for like
No,
well, I mean, just to get through the holiday
No.
season. Well, what if she just came in
I will
like,
quit.
oh, is she that bad?
She smells like cat litter.
Scene. There's one other kind of buzz. And this is a critical type of buzz that I didn't even know about until like about 10 years ago. Positive, but limiting. Now, positive but limiting buzz, it's when people only see you where you're at. And maybe they just know of a certain skill set or a certain personality trait, but they don't see your potential. They don't see your growth. What they see is where they keep you in a box. Positive but limiting buzz. Well, sounds like this. Hey, Jamie.
Hey,
Sally.
yeah, I know Sally.
Sally from the CX team.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm thinking about maybe promoting her and giving her a new opportunity. She's been here a long time.
Yeah, a long time, but like, why are you moving her?
Well, I mean, she's good at what she does, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, when I think CX team, first person I think of is Sally.
All right. Well, what about if we make her manager of CX team, huh?
Yeah, but she's really good in the role that she currently has.
Yes, but don't you see her? Couldn't she manage people?
Honestly, she's really good at what she's doing now. And I feel like if you move her, who's going to fill her shoes?
That's a good point.
Right. I mean, that's a
Right.
lot of experience to move into a different role.
Yeah, no, you're right. Let's keep a thumb on her, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Let's keep her down. Let's keep her in
Okay.
a box.
Whoa.
Scene. See, I don't think we think about this enough. You know, what is our buzz? What are people saying about us? In fact, that's what I'm going to ask you to do right now in your first breakout conversation. And questions on the table when you go into your breakout for about 5 minutes is, what is a buzz you want? What is a buzz you think you might have? And how does that buzz get impacted by the way you receive feedback? So I am going to now place you in a breakout with a couple of other people. And again, we're going to give you 4.5 minutes. Let me place you in this room and we will see you shortly. All right. Okay, we will see you in 4.5 minutes. The rooms are now open. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. So buzz is pretty darn important. And the fact is that your buzz is generated, by how you show up on great days when everything's going well, how you show up when you are in a bad mood or a good mood, how you show up when somebody gives you feedback. And the fact is that feedback is really hard to take in, which is what we're going to be spending a lot of time around, is how we show up when we get tough messages and what do we need to do a little bit differently. But I think before we jump into delivering and receiving feedback, I guess my question right now is, who should give feedback? Like, whose responsibility is it to give some feedback? And actually, that's going to be my first polling question to you. Is whose job? Who do you think should give feedback at work? I'm going to give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we have most of the people have weighed in here, and I'm going to share the results right now. And I'm going to agree with 90% of you. By the way, I have no idea. Our polls are always anonymous. But I think, for those 3 of you who think it's the manager, guess what? You're not alone. Jamie, don't you think most people feel like, really? It's the manager's job.
I think that's a common response.
Yes. And so here's what happens. There are, a couple of different scenarios when people don't deliver feedback directly to another person who is dropping the ball or doing something that's getting in the way or doing a behavior that's kind of making you nuts, right? And so here are the couple of scenarios when you don't give feedback directly. The first one is telling your boss to tell the person. It's like this. Hey, Jamie, Francisco, I'm not going to say which of the three, but Francisco is doing something that's really irritating to me. Can you talk to him about it? And Jamie's like, okay, I will. So this is what happens. Say I'm Francisco. Jamie, my boss, comes over to me and says something like this.
Francisco, I wasn't there, but I need to give you a little bit of feedback about something that you were doing at work that's agitating one of your team members.
Okay, who told you that?
You know what? It really doesn't matter who said it. I just wanted to address.
Harp, wasn't it? Was it Harp? It was probably Harp.
I'm not going to say.
No, Harp has it in for me.
Okay, that's a discussion for another day.
Scene. It's so more difficult to get feedback from your boss who wasn't there. The fact is that as adults, we need to be talking to each other. We need to be giving feedback directly to each other. And part of that is that when we don't do it because we're afraid we're going to ruin the relationship. But when we don't, the other thing that can happen is that it can lead to gossip. Now, what is gossip? Gossip is when you don't have the courage or audacity to go directly to the person who's bugging you. Instead, you go to a friend of yours and you start talking about the other person. It sounds like this. Hey, Jamie.
Hey.
Sarah did it again.
No way.
Yes, she did it again. She's making me like so angry.
Oh my gosh. Have you said anything to her?
Oh, I'm not going to say anything to her. She's got to be in her 40s by now. She's got to know.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Honestly, there she is. Oh,
hi, Sarah.
That's what happens. And here's the thing about gossip is sooner or later, Sarah hears about it. And gossip is so destructive in a workplace. So the fact is that feedback is something we have to figure out. So we're going to talk first about how do you deliver it. And there are 5 steps of feedback that as we talk through each one of these steps, we'd love for you to write down these 5 steps so you have it right in front of you. Step number 1, you want to identify the situation. You want to give a context, right? You want to say something like, hey, can I talk to you about the report? Hey, can I talk to you about the shipment that you just put together? You never want to start feedback by saying, something like, hey, Abigail, can I see you in my office? Like, that is not a good way to begin. So identify the situation or give a context. Sounds a little bit like this. Hey, Jamie.
Hey.
Can I talk to you about the conversation we had this morning?
Sure.
Step number 2, you want to describe observed behaviors. Observed behaviors are exactly what you see and hear. It's like playing back a videotape of what you observed. Describing observed behaviors, well, it looks like this. So, Jamie, when we had our conversation this morning, I noticed that a few times while we were talking, you kept rolling your eyes. That's step 2. Step 3, you want to describe the impact of those particular behaviors. Looks like this. So Jamie, I gotta say that every time you rolled your eyes, it's like, I don't know, like you knocked my confidence out of me. I just kept thinking, oh, she's rolling her eyes because she thinks I'm a dope. That's step number 3. Step number 4, you want to ask for the person's perspective. You know, feedback is not a monologue, it's a dialogue, it's a conversation. So asking for the person's perspective, it looks like this. So Jamie, what's happening? Why were you rolling your eyes?
Cindy, was I rolling my eyes like this?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness, that has nothing to do with you. I am so sorry that you felt that way. I've been using this like lash extender at night. It's a solution. You put it right on your lashes. It makes them thicker. You get, you wake up to luxurious lashes. Anyway, I managed to hit my eyeball with the solution, and now I have eyelashes growing out of my eyes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Me either. So I'm always rolling my eyes because I have eyelashes in my eye.
Scene. That's step 4. Step 5. You want to discuss alternate behaviors. You want to talk about, well, next time, what could you do differently? Because, after all, that's what feedback is all about, right? It's about improving someone's behavior or performance. It's about helping someone grow and develop and learn. It's not about making people feel bad. It's about supporting them and having their back. Number 5 looks like this. So Jamie, we're going to be working a lot together. And in fact, you're going to be really customer facing.
Yeah.
If you keep rolling your eyes, I'm sure that other people are going to take it personally. What can you do?
Well, I've got to be honest with you, just having this conversation and drawing attention to it, I don't want to use the solution anymore. I'm going to accept myself for who I am, which is a thin-lashed woman.
Okay, well, I think that's a good idea.
And to be honest with you, they make products to help with this stuff that doesn't involve a solution. I'm going to start wearing fake lashes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's up to you.
And to be honest with you, I don't even like my face the way that it is. They make makeup. I'm going to wear more makeup.
More makeup?
Yeah. I'm going to cover my face with more makeup, right? I can look different than this with my new fake lashes. And to be honest with you, my hair takes so much effort to do in the morning. Why am I doing that when there are wigs? I'm going to pull my hair up and start wearing wigs. Fuller, more luxurious hair.
Totally up
to match
you.
my lashes. Yeah, and you know what? I need a new signature fragrance. I'm going to start wearing perfume way more often. Perfumes and lotions. Ooh, and layering with a nice soap. All of that will be good.
Okay, this getting maybe
now
out of
that
hand.
I think about it, there's a fair amount of stuff about myself that I don't like. I'm going to schedule myself for a new nose. I think a new nose and wider eyes.
All right,
maybe I could get dimples.
Just gone way too far, Jamie.
Oh.
Now, here's the thing. Before we go on, let's do a little bit of self-reflection with this poll. And here's my question to you. When you think about those 5 steps, which do you find the most difficult? I'm going to give you 6. Oh, I didn't launch it. That is a rookie mistake. All right. Which do you find the most difficult? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, always anonymous is our polls. And we have 90% who've participated and end the poll and share the results. Well, we have there is a diversity of responses here, but I do notice that asking the other person for their perspective, only a few of you struggle with that. The biggest one appears to be describing the impact of those behaviors. Jamie, how important is describing the impact?
I think it's very important, especially if you're giving feedback for the person to learn and grow from. That's the part that's sticky. It's not that you've done the thing, it's that what you've done caused a reaction. And to know what that reaction is important.
Yeah, exactly. So, honestly, I have this right above my computer. Whenever I give feedback, I follow these 5 steps, and I'm telling you, it is super helpful. But I will say this, even when you follow those 5 steps, it can end up where the person does not take it well. The fact is, it is profoundly difficult to be on the receiving end of feedback. Because while every single one of us wants to learn and grow, and we want to walk around without spinach in our teeth, we don't want to walk around with our fly down and we don't know. While everyone wants kind of to get feedback, it is profoundly difficult because we also want to be accepted and respected and appreciated and valued at work. So when we get feedback at work, there are 3 triggers that can happen that shut us down. The first trigger is the truth trigger. And the truth trigger happens when somebody gives you feedback and in your head, you're thinking to yourself, that's not true. Wrong. No. And as soon as you think something is like untrue or not accurate about the feedback, you shut down. That's a truth trigger. The second trigger that can happen is the relationship trigger. And the relationship trigger has nothing to do with what's being said. It has to do with who's saying it. Maybe you don't like that person. Maybe you think that person is a dope. Maybe you just feel like they don't have a right to give you feedback because you don't have trust with this individual. But it's when somebody gives you feedback and you're in your head thinking, oh, well, I'm not going to take feedback from you. And you shut down. That's a relationship trigger. And the third trigger, my friends, is the identity trigger. And the identity trigger happens when somebody gives you feedback and it violates like what you believe are your strengths, right? Like maybe Jamie thinks that she's a really good team player, and the identity trigger would happen if I said something like this. Hey, Jamie.
Hey.
I gotta say, I don't think you're committed to our team. Like nobody likes working with you.
What? Are you kidding right now?
No, I mean, I wish you could be more of a team player. That's all.
I am not just a team player. I am the team player. Are you kidding me?
You got to calm down.
I personalize everything that I do. I make sure that every person gets healthy snacks in the morning. I bake those. I know what everybody's tolerances are. Are you kidding me? Janice, she's gluten-free. I make her gluten-free muffins. Brian can't stand bananas. I never make him banana stuff. I am the team player. Who are you?
Okay, you know what? Forget it.
Yeah, I will forget it. That was wasteful.
So since I learned about these 3 triggers, it helps me in 2 ways. One way is that when I get feedback and I start feeling the hairs on the back of my neck go up and I start like getting all red in the face and it's hard to hear. Now I think to myself, wait a minute, which of these triggers is being triggered right now? And then I actually do things to diffuse that trigger. But the other way that it is helpful is that when I give feedback to someone else, I start noticing them reacting in a certain way, and I start noticing what trigger it might be, and I help them to diffuse it. We are now going to walk through each one of these triggers, and we are going to unpack exactly what it is, what it sounds like, and what you can do about it. So let's begin with the truth trigger. And like we said, the truth trigger is when you hear a trigger and you're in your head thinking, the person is wrong. And there's actually a tell to the truth trigger. You know what a tell is? It's like when you're playing poker and like, you can tell when somebody's bluffing. Maybe they have like a little corner of their mouth twitches or they start getting restless, but when a person is bluffing. I think there is a tell to the truth trigger, right? And the tell is a lot of questions, a lot of defensiveness. The truth trigger, my friends, it sounds a lot like this. We call this scene, you were gruff on the phone. Scene. Hey, Jamie.
Hey,
I was just outside your office and I heard you on the phone. Were you talking to IT?
yes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, well, you were pretty gruff on the phone. You know that, right?
I was gruff.
Yeah, I was out there for like a minute, but I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm glad she's not talking to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't talking to you. You know what? I was on the phone. Did you hear what they were saying to me?
Oh, no, it wasn't on speaker. I just heard your half of the
You heard my half of
conversation.
that 47-minute conversation.
I was only there a minute, so I only
Okay.
heard a little bit, but
Okay, so you heard a little bit of one side of a 47-minute conversation, and do you know why they were calling?
no, I don't. No, Jamie, I don't. I'm just
No,
saying
did
you
you know it
sounded
was
like
the 8th phone call today?
no, I didn't. I did
No,
not know that.
no, you didn't know any of that. Okay,
No,
but you
I
felt the need
didn't.
to come to me with that little bit of information that you think you had to tell me that I sounded gruff on the phone?
Maybe that was a bad choice of words.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, but it's what you chose, right? You chose gruff. You could have chosen anything else, but you said, Jamie, you were gruff, right? That's what you
yeah,
said.
you're right.
Yeah, like I'm a
Look,
billy goat or something.
okay, scene. So that's the tell of the truth trigger. You can kind of tell that the truth trigger is happening. Now, why does a truth trigger happen? Well, sometimes what we hear the person say is not exactly what was meant. For instance, you might say, hey, Cindy, you need to be more confident with our customers. But what I hear you say is, oh, you want me to give the impression that I know things even when I don't? You want me to lie to people? Fine. But maybe what you meant was you should have the confidence to say you don't know when you don't know. What we hear maybe isn't what was meant. You might say to me, Cindy, I wish you weren't so opinionated. What I hear you say is, okay, you want me to be like quiet and I shouldn't share any stories and not interesting. But maybe what you meant to say is you don't listen to me or anyone else. And it's exhausting. Again, what we hear maybe isn't what was meant. The other reason that the truth trigger sometimes goes off is because of our personal blind spots. Now, I got to say that even the most self-aware of us have blind spots. We do. After all, we have a unique perspective of ourselves. We see ourselves in a different way than other people see us. I'm talking to you. Typically, I don't see my face. I do right now because it's a Zoom call, but usually I don't. When I talk to you, I don't even hear the sound of my voice. And the fact is that you have a perspective of me. You see and hear things that I don't see. So, for instance, I might see myself as spontaneous, and I do think myself that way. I think like I can go with the flow. I improvise. But Jamie, you might see that as
Flaky.
okay. All right, let's try another one. I see myself as smart. I'm pretty smart, but Jamie, you might see that as,
Know it all.
well, you're really good at this, Jamie.
Oh, just word
One after the other.
association. Yeah.
Let's try one more.
Mhm.
I see myself as quirky. I do. You know, I was a theater major in college. I'm unique. But you might see that as,
Weird.
okay, so Jamie comes over to me and she might say something like, hey, Cindy, you know, when you were with those clients, you sounded like a know-it-all and came off as a little weird. Well, Truth Trigger is going to rear its head and I'm going to say things like, what? No, I mean, I'm quirky and smart. And if people can't take that, well, then they have a problem. It makes me wonder, what is one of your blind spots? Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, if it's a blind spot, then, you know, I must be blind to it. But I think blind spots might be, you know, one of those little things, that those taps on the shoulder that you've gotten throughout your life that you've pushed aside, you know, like, you know, maybe you interrupt and you know that about yourself, but you push it aside. I want you to take a minute and I'm going to just put you with one other person. And the question on the table is, what is one of your blind spots that you have been pushing aside over the years? And what is the impact on your buzz? Jamie, what's maybe a blind spot you might have that you've been pushing aside?
Not speaking up often enough. Honestly, like the blind spot is that people have said I let people walk over certain situations, and I tend to think that it's because I'm being cordial or it's not the appropriate time. And it is a spot that I need to work on.
And what does that do for your buzz?
I think it makes it maybe so that people don't see me as being strong as I actually am, or that I'm not confident as I am, because I tend to allow other people to move forward in whatever it is that they need if it doesn't actually hurt what I'm doing.
This is precisely the conversation you are going to have right now in a breakout room. We're going to give you 4 minutes to talk about what might be a blind spot that you may be getting feedback on over the years that you've just not allowed in. The rooms are now open. See you in 4 minutes.
Bothering you, trying to give feedback. How do you know if it's just bothering you and not anyone else in your group? Is it just something that you've kind of picked up on, or is it something that doesn't make sense?
Are you talking about if somebody's doing a behavior that's bothering you, you're like, is it just me or is it other people?
Correct.
Is that what you're getting at?
Yep.
So here's what I think. If I'm working with someone, say I'm working with Misty Mitchell, who looks very nice, and she's doing something that's bothering me, and I look around and I'm like, it doesn't seem to bother anyone else. If I work closely with Misty, I want to talk to her about it. I want to let her know that, you know, you do this thing and the impact is whatever it is. Like, it makes me feel bad, or it gets me frustrated, or, you know, I want people to know. I want to have the best relationships with the people I work with. And that means I invite them to give me feedback so that I'm sure that I'm easy to work with. And that means I get to give them feedback as well. Well, that's, I guess, my answer. Now, if you feel like the truth trigger is happening to you, well, first of all, you know it's happening, because in your head, you're like, wrong. What do they mean? Oh, they're so, like, that's a lie, right? The fact is that we need to diffuse the truth trigger by doing this, this skill that we call the back and the forth. And the back and the forth is simply getting curious about what happened. That's the back. What did the person see and hear me do? What was the impact of that? And forth, meaning what should I do moving forward? That means I'm getting feedback. I got to get curious about that. What did you see and hear? What can I do differently? What is your advice for me? Let's go back to that scene. You were gruff on the phone. The back and the forth looks like this. Hey, Jamie.
Hey,
So, I overheard you on the phone. I don't know if were you talking to IT?
yes,
Oh, well, you were so gruff on the phone. Are you okay?
I was gruff.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was standing there. I was just texting my daughter, and I thought, oh my gosh, is she okay? Like, I'm glad she's not talking to me that way.
Oh my goodness. Okay, what did you hear? Was it my tone? Was it something I said? I mean, what sounded gruff?
Well, I guess it was your tone and what you said. Like, I heard you say, "You folks in IT are dopes, and I hate you." Like you did that, and I'm like, "Whoa." And then later, I heard you say something like, "If you don't fix this, I'm coming down and fixing you." And I thought, wow, is that a threat? Yeah.
Yeah, hearing it back. I mean, I see where you're coming from. Um, you know, I get so frustrated over the tech issues that I'm experiencing. You know, I what do you do? I mean, because I know you're working with the same stuff.
Yeah. Well, there are a couple things I do, but I don't know if they'll work for you.
Hey, what I'm doing isn't working. So,
Okay, well, one thing is above my phone is a poster. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it says IT people are people too. And it
oh,
makes me think maybe they are, you know?
okay.
The other thing I do is when I'm talking to IT and I get really frustrated, I make a fist with my hand and I stick my fingernails into my palms till they bleed. And I don't know, that really helps me.
Huh. Did you buy that poster or make it yourself?
Sane, the back and the forth. Imagine you give feedback to someone and they say, "Oh my gosh, what would you do?" Think about what that would do to your buzz, right? Let's move on to the relationship trigger. The relationship trigger, as you'll remember, has nothing to do with what's being said. It has to do with who's saying it. And the fact is that the relationship trigger gets triggered in two ways. First, it gets triggered when we think the giver of the feedback is not credible or competent or worthy to give us feedback. When that happens, my friends, well, it looks a little bit like this. We call this scene Kathy is crying. The relationship trigger scene. Hey, Jamie,
Hey,
I heard you yelling at Kathy, the intern, and just so you know, she's in the ladies' room crying right now.
yeah.
Oh, you knew that? Or
She was crying when she left my office. I told her to go to the bathroom to pull herself together. Yeah, I know.
oh, okay.
Wait a
Well,
minute. Are you telling me this because you think that I'm wrong for yelling at Kathy?
yeah, I mean, kind of like I don't think it's appropriate to yell at people in the workplace. I just
Wow.
don't.
Wow. So my behavior is not workplace appropriate. Is that what you're saying?
Look, you know what?
Let me
I
ask you
mean,
a
I just have,
question. How long have you worked with interns?
I don't know, like a year and a half, I
A year
think.
and a half. Oh my goodness, 18 months. That is so cute. I mean, that's
What?
just adorable. Yeah. You're like a toddler in your experience, right? Like you
But
feel like you know what you're doing, but you probably still fall down a lot. Oh my goodness, that is so cute. Do you
okay,
get
you
naps
can't
in
use
the
this.
afternoon?
No, that's not a good analogy. I'm
Is
not a
it? Because
toddler.
do you know how long I've worked with toddlers? Do you know how long I've been in people management? Do you have an idea about that?
You mean okay, working with interns?
Yeah.
No, I have no idea.
Yeah. 21 years.
Okay.
21 years of experience. I have awards in my skills with interns. Are you kidding me? I mean, 21 years of experience. Well, you're over in the corner with your sippy cup of apple juice and your little cup of goldfish. I'm at the bar doing shots of experience. You've got to be
Scene.
kidding me.
That's like the relationship trigger. Now, of course, our scenes go a little over the top, but you know that feeling you get when somebody's giving you feedback and you're like, who are they to give me feedback? Now, the other way that the relationship trigger gets triggered is when we feel mistreated by the giver of the feedback. That it's the same trigger, but it looks and sounds a little bit differently. It looks and sounds a little bit like this. Again, Kathy was crying. Hey, Jamie, I heard you yelling at Kathy. She's in the ladies' room crying right now. So,
Yep. And you came to tell me that you think I'm wrong for yelling at Kathy, right?
well, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
What do you mean, of course, of course?
I mean, of course, you're coming to tell me that you think I'm wrong. It's what you do.
That's not even true.
It is true. It's the only time you ever talk to me.
It's not true, Jamie.
It's so true. You don't say hi. You don't ask me to get coffee. My leg was in a cast for a month. You're the only person here that didn't sign it.
You broke your leg?
You didn't even know.
Scene. Now, there is a kind of a good impact and a bad impact when this happens. You know, I call this the switcheroonie because I've gone over to give Jamie some feedback, and all of a sudden, the feedback is coming back my way. So the good impact is, well, Jamie's put something on the table that's pretty important. And in fact, it might even be more important than the thing I started with. But the bad impact is now we have two topics that get twisted and tangled and nothing gets resolved. So what we need to do is this thing we call one at a time. And the one at a time means we label each topic and address them one at a time. Looks like this. Hey, Jamie, you yelled at Kathy. She's crying in the ladies' room.
Yep. And you came to tell me because you think I'm wrong for yelling at Kathy.
I do indeed. Yep.
Of course. It's the only time you ever talk to me.
That's not true.
It's true. You only talk to me to tell me that you think I've done something wrong.
What? No.
Yeah. You never say hi. You never get coffee. My leg was in a cast for 4 years. You're the only person here who didn't sign it.
4 years you had a cast on your leg?
What did you know?
Okay. So we have two things going on, right? You're telling me that the only time I talk to you is to give you negative feedback. That's one thing.
Yes.
The second thing is Kathy's in the ladies' room talking. We have to talk about both of these things. What do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about this. Kathy deserves to cry.
Scene. Wow, Jamie, that was harsh.
You don't know what Kathy did.
So another skill to help when the relationship trigger is happening to someone else, like you notice that they're shutting down, is this thing called the contrast statement. And so I give feedback to Jamie and I do this kind of thing. I say, here's what I don't want. Here's what I do want. Here's what I don't want, Jamie. I don't want you to get upset. I think, I love working with you. And I don't want you to think that I think you do things wrong all the time. But what I do want is to understand that when you yell, and you yell pretty frequently, I want you to recognize the impact of that and maybe how it impacts your own buzz. What I don't want, what I do want. I'll give you an example of this, and I want you to try this contrast statement in the chat function. So here's the scenario for you. So you've asked your roommate to move her things in the fridge off your shelves and onto her shelves. To you, it was no big deal, simply a request to share the space evenly. You had no hidden agenda. You liked this roommate a great deal. She came back with, there you go again, telling me how to run my life. I can't change the vacuum cleaner bag without you jumping in and giving me advice. So in the chat right now, I want you to click on the chat and I want you to type in a potential contrast statement, what I don't want and what I do want. So we're going to be looking at the chat right now. And now all of you should be beginning to type what I don't want, what I do want in this scenario. And while you're doing that, Jamie, have you ever tried this contrast statement concept?
I have. I always like to preface feedback that could be received negatively with my intentions. So I feel like it breaks down defenses before they are formed. Giving people the understanding of where I'm coming from, which is from a place of caring or understanding or compassion versus a place of judgment.
Well, I totally agree with you. And I'm noticing that nobody is doing the contrast statement. Ah, Misty, I love you so much. Here they come. What I don't want is to run your life. What I do want is equally shared space. I don't want you to feel upset or feel like I'm attacking you. We have a smaller space and I just want to make sure we both have space for our stuff. Thank you, my friends. You get it. The fact is that when you use a contrast statement, it preserves that relationship because the person understands your intention. And the other thing that we need to do to defeat the relationship trigger, even before it gets triggered, is to make sure that you're building good relationships with the people you work with. I am telling you, if Nick Garcia and I work together and we have had really nice conversations, we've had coffee chats, I know about his family, I know about his life, I know what he wants to, all the, like, we've shared good things. If Nick gives me feedback, I am going to be taking it in better. It is the people that I don't have relationships with, people I don't know very well, people who I don't feel know me. It's going to be harder to take feedback from them. So I want you to think about who you work with the most and think about, do we have enough trust and psychological safety with each other to deliver feedback to each other without the relationship trigger happening? And if you're like, I mean, most of the people I do, but there's that one person. That's the person that I want you to kind of intentionally make an effort to get to know. Let's move into our very last trigger that we're going to talk about today in our last 11 minutes together, and that's the identity trigger. Now, I like to call the identity trigger the American Idol trigger, because when I think about the American Idol, the part that I always liked best about that show when I used to watch it, it's a singing competition. I always enjoyed the auditions. And the thing about the auditions is that there are two kinds of auditioners in that show. There is the really good singer and you're watching them sing and you're like, oh my gosh, they're amazing. They're going to go all the way. And then there's the bad auditioner that the show would put on, like the terrible singers that think they're really good. I used to love watching the show when Simon Cowell was a judge. Remember that British guy? And he would always say what we were thinking at home. The person would sing like terribly. And Simon Cowell would respond by saying, "You're bloody awful. Never sing again." And then the person would get so mad, right? Because the identity trigger happens when you're getting feedback on the thing you think you're best at. And the person would open the door always the wrong way and they would go down the hall and the video guy would be like doing the camera after them. And the person would be like, "I'm the singer you don't even know." That's the identity trigger. When we get feedback and we're like, we take it, something that may be this big, make it this big. We can't even take it in because it is so upsetting, violates our own sense of identity. Now, one of my identities, well, I have a few, right? I'm a great mom. I've always known that. I think I'm a good colleague. I hope Jamie would agree. But one of the big things of my identity is I think I'm a really good trainer and teacher. I've been doing this work for a long, long time, and I believe I've gotten better and better at it. So a few weeks ago, we delivered a session in Chicago, and with a different client, obviously. And we got feedback back. We always get evaluations, and these were some of the comments that we received from this client. And I remember this is what happened. I read these in, like, eliminate the skits, didn't really connect with them. Wow. Well, you know what? The skits, the scenes that we do, that's kind of like what sets us apart. Like, that's our brand. It would be like me going to you, Misty Mitchell, and saying, you know what? Maybe don't sell nuts. It was not appropriate for the trainer to say pissed off and damn it, it is unprofessional. Oh my gosh. Oh, I read that comment. I'm like, I can't believe I swore. Shit. It was too long. Some of the content could have been edited out since it was not new information. Oh man, I thought you know what? I pride myself on sharing new research and doing new content and making it valuable. Oh, I expected to be taken on a learning journey with practical applications inserted throughout. There was no journey. It was learning hopscotch. It was all over the place. Oh, my friends, I just shut down. Well, it turns out that I've been working with Jamie for a long time, and we have been using this content for a long time. So Jamie knew exactly how to get me kind of off the ledge of my reaction, of my identity trigger reaction. And these are 3 things that you also can use to keep the feedback from getting overwhelming and supersized, because we want to make it just big enough so we can take it in and do something about it, right? So Jamie, tell us about those 3 things and what you said to me.
Sure. The first thing that I said was to think about this as a one class moment. This happened in one class. It was not every class. You've been teaching for years and received positive feedback. So let's put this on this one class.
The second thing is to keep it really specific. You know, when the identity trigger happens, we usually just take it in and we just hear like, oh, you stink. I am terrible at what I do. But Jamie reminded me to get super specific.
Right. So I said, well, first of all, this isn't even all of the feedback or the majority. It's a couple of comments. Let's look through them and see what actually can be changed or adjusted, or what needs to be changed or adjusted.
And the last question to ask ourselves, or reminder, is to say, just keep it with these folks that you heard it from. You know, we can't please everyone. We're not going to resonate with everyone. You know, there might be a couple people even today that are like, I don't know, this just doesn't click with me. Like, their style is not my thing. I got to know that. And I got to keep that in perspective, because that's the truth, right? Jamie said this.
Look, there are billions of people on this planet. For those 3, they weren't happy. We can't please everyone all of the time.
Time, specificity, and people. We are going to invite you to go in your very last breakout conversation. The question on the table is, when was the last time you experienced the identity trigger? Might have happened at work, might have happened at home. And how did you move forward after that difficult feedback? We are just going to give you about 4 minutes, and we're going to bring you back and put closure around our time. recreate these rooms a little so you are with some new people. We'll see you in 4 minutes. The rooms are now open. All right. Welcome back, everyone. And we just want to put some closure around our time. Jamie, what do you want to say to these fine people of nuts.com?
Well, first of all, thank you for joining us because I know your schedules are busy and this is a chunk of time that you're probably thinking could be utilized for other things. So I'm grateful that you're here. But also take this to heart. I think one of the hard things about giving feedback is just doing it and getting comfortable doing it. And the truth is, now that you have tools that everyone here has heard, they'll understand when you're talking to them. Just get into the practice. It gets easier every time you actually do it.
That is so true, Jamie. So like if somebody's giving you feedback, you can say, yikes, I feel like it's the truth trigger and I'm so sorry. I'm going to try to get curious. Like people are going to understand what that even means. Or, oh my gosh, the identity triggers. Oh, I'm so sorry. Like that's the words we need to use with each other. I want to thank you too. It has been a delight and an honor to be with you guys. Any questions?
Yes. Well, not really so much a question. I just wanted to say that I loved your skits. Hearing the
Aw.
conversation, I really did. Just hearing the conversation and it sounded like a normal conversation between two people that helped me like kind of process it and, oh, okay, well, maybe when they said that, they really didn't mean that. Like it gives a more human approach to it. So I appreciate that.
Thank
See,
you.
thank you so much. And maybe you can call my client in Chicago, those stinkers. Any other questions or comments? I want to thank everyone for coming. Have a wonderful weekend. I hope you stay cool. I don't know about you. It is hot in Connecticut. So stay cool. Have a great time. Thanks again. Bye,
Thank you,
everybody.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.